SurSafe Final Practice Test, 40 Ks, Exam Questi. What should a food service operator do when responding to a foodborne illness outbreak? Segregate the product. What is the minimum internal cooking temp for green beans that are hot held for service? 135 F. What is the purpose of setting critical limits in a HACCP plan? To reduce hazards to safe levels. When should a shipment of fresh chicken be rejected? The receiving temp is 50 F. Parasites are commonly associated with seafood. What task requires food handlers to wash hands before and after doing? Handling raw meat, poultry or seafood. Metal shavings are which type of contaminant? Physical. What item is considered acceptable work attire for a food handler? Plain band ring. What organization requires material safety data sheets? Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Ciguatera toxin is commonly found in amberjack. Which action requires a food handler to change gloves? The food handler is wearing gloves that have been torn. What is minimum time an iodine sanitizer solution must be in contact with the item being sanitized? 30 seconds. What is most likely the cause of wheezing and hives? Food allergies. Where should ground fish be stored in a cooler? Below pork roasts. TCS food reheated for hot holding must reach what temp? 165 F for 15 seconds. Where should staff members eat, drink, smoke, or chew gum? In designated areas. What is minimum water temp required when using hot water to sanitize objects? 171 F. Which is a TCS food? Saltines, bananas, baked potato, coffee. Baked potato. What is the third step in cleaning and sanitizing items in a 3-compartment sink? Rinsing. What food item does the Food and Drug Administration advise against offering on a children's menu? Rare cheeseburgers. What method should never be used to thaw food? Place the item on a prep counter. What is a basic characteristic of a virus? Requires a living host to grow. What should food operators do to prevent spread of hepatitis A? Exclude staff with jaundice from the operation. What food safety practice can prevent cross-contact? Washing, rinsing and sanitizing utensils before each use. What is maximum number of days that ready-to-eat TCS food prepared on site can be stored if held at 41 F? 7 days. What should food service operators do to prevent customer illness from Shigella spp? Control flies inside and outside the operation. What must a food handler with a hand wound do to safely work with food? Bandage the wound with an impermeable cover and wear a single-use glove. Food held at 41 F or lower before removed from refrigeration can be held without temp control up to how many hours? 6. When partial cooking food to be finished later, what is max cooking time allowed during initial cooking? 60 minutes. To wash hands correctly, a food handler must first wet hands and arms. What is final step in cleaning and sanitizing prep table? Allowing surface to air dry. Hot TCS food can be held without temp control for a max of ______ hours. 4. Which group of individuals has a high risk of foodborne illness? Elderly people. How should the temp of a shipment of cottage cheese be taken when it arrives at an operation? Place the thermometer stem into an opened container. In top to bottom order, how should fresh roast beef, fresh halibut, lettuce, and a pan of ground chicken be stored? Lettuce, fresh halibut, fresh roast beef, ground chicken. If a food contact surface is in constant use, how often should it be cleaned and sanitized? Every 4 hours. Which food may be reserved to customers? Unopened prepackaged food. When can a food handler with a sore throat and fever return to work with or around food? A written medical release is provided. What HACCP principle is being practiced when food handlers rewash melons with surface dirt? Corrective action. What type of thermocouple probe should be used to check internal temp of beef roast? Penetration.